skeletals, dinosaur survival slot, and everything Awesomebro. These were the ingredients chosen to create the perfect peasants. But Professor Jaco
Why did you redeem
an
it?
extra ingredient to the
Why did you redeem it?
Carnivora Forum.
Why did you do it? Ma'am, why did you do this?
Thus the Pidgeets were born, using their retarded...
The mass estimate.
Coiter and megatheropod enthusiast and herbivore glazer have dedicated their lives, misinformation garbage, and pestering everyone.
Redeem the GDI mass estimate.
Coprex is the biggest theropod dinosaur ever.
Edmontosaurus, always 18 tons mega herbivore.
Have you ever wondered why the natural history community is filled with individuals who are completely clueless in the field, yet seem to think they know something about it? But have you noticed that they share a common pattern or theme among them? The fact is that they only discuss a very narrow view in the field of paleontology, focusing exclusively on certain non-avian dinosaurs and addressing only a very specific aspect of them, a phenomenon and an archetype that is hard to elaborate on but easy to understand. This is a common archetype in the paleo community as a whole. This is the Pidgeet.
Interesting. Now I have my question. So what is a Pidgeets? What is the characteristics make someone as that?
Good question. Here's the criteria. 1. Extreme theropod or dinosaur-focused behavior. In paleontology, everything revolves around the Mesozoic era and non-avian dinosaurs, especially large theropod dinosaurs like Tyrannosaurus, Spinosaurus, Giganotosaurus, etc., excluding anything outside this scope. The only exceptions are the largest non-dinosaur species of their clades, such as Megalodon, Titanoboa, Deinosuchus, Quetzalcoatlus, Paleoloxodon, and Leviathan.
I absolutely agree. All they do is talk about large carnosaurs all the time. What about Enantiornithes and Troodontids? They also tend to ignore ornithischians and sauropod dinosaurs, except obviously the big famous ones. Additionally, they turn a blind eye to creatures that aren't dinosaurs, like most pterosaurs, some Triassic reptiles, most pseudosuchians, and marine reptiles as well. Since they only focus on the Mesozoic, they ignore Paleozoic fauna, such as many invertebrates, early fish, and early synapsids, as well as the Cenozoic era, which isn't just about mammals.
True. There's nothing wrong not liking them or liking them. It's just there's more scope to look and appreciate natural history. Criteria to natural history discussion equals size, mass estimates, and power scaling. To Pidgeets, paleontology is all about how badass an animal is. They treat the field as if it only revolves around size estimates, mass, bite force, and skeletal reconstructions, often based on hypotheticals rather than objective science. Meanwhile, more practical and observational research, such as anatomy, biomechanics, ecology, evolution, phylogeny, and even geography, is largely ignored, and power scaling and animal versus animal takes place instead.
Exactly. It's as if they think the only thing that matters is the biggest or most fearsome predator. But real paleontology is much richer. It's about understanding how these creatures lived, engaged with their surroundings, and evolved through time. We need to examine the finer details, like their anatomy, their interactions, and the ecosystems they inhabited, not just who could demolish the most skulls. Power scaling can be fun, however, it does not belong on actual real-life animals.
Criteria 3. Misuse of terms, gaming logic, and size idolatry. Since they play too much prior extinction and Path of Titans, they treat paleontology like a survival game, seeing dinosaurs as PvP fighters instead of animals in an ecosystem. They call big herbivores apexes just because they're strong in games, ignoring real predator, prey, dynamics. They also treat mass estimates as gospel and freaking out when a skeletal artist updates a creature's size, like a game nerf just dropped on their favorite character. On top of that, they worship skeletal artists as if they're infallible, either blindly accepting changes or raging in denial. To them, paleontology isn't science. It's just a stat sheet to fulfill their fanboyism.
This idiocy disgusts me. They refuse to admit weight estimates, and skeletal reconstructions, which are done by different people, are often revised, vary by perspective, and have inconsistencies. Artists use different references, measurements, and methods like uncrushing skeletons distorted by taphonomy or filling missing gaps with other specimens. So, leave skeletal artists alone. Also, Roblox dinosaur survival games are a waste of time and money. Please get a job.
Additional characteristics or traits of Pidgeets. Stupid, completely incompetent and ignorant in understanding the field of natural history. They tend to be high confidence on their knowledge, yet with lack of competence. Dunning-Kruger effect. For example, an self-proclaimed T-Rex enthusiast, yet doesn't know Sioux catalog number or anything about Tyrannosaurus that isn't just mass estimates. Correcting them tend to get very mad, insecure and defensive as well. They take every single new publication on paleontology as if it's the absolute truth. New equals good, and such, not knowing that some scientific literature face criticism as well rebuttals, let alone ones that are just wrong. They blindly follow the literature, and they don't read the paper contents neither, and only blindly trust the expert's opinion if it's valid or not, as if they were above them.
They watch too much Vivian.
But Tito, isn't that called an Awesomebro?
They're very similar, but technically no, because Pidgeets care about scientific accuracy unlike Awesomebros, because Awesomebros think that scientific accuracy makes it uncool and worse, unlike Pidgeets. In fact, some Pidgeets are former Awesomebros, realizing their Jurassic Park Rex is no longer cool because science said,
bigger and better and stronger.
if you compare the Jurassic Park Rex, it looks skinny, and that thing is blind. If you compare the real life Tyrannosaurus Rex, its anatomy is so robust, it's so muscular, and it also has one of the best eyesights.
But Edmontosaurus beats the Rex, and its mass is bigger, sir.
Get out of here, Edmontosaurus!
Sorry about that. We had a herbivore glazer, aka the Pidgeet, which is a mega herdosaur fanboy, just like the Pidgeet, which obsessed with giant theropods. This one is obsessed with mega herdosaurs like Edmontosaurus and Shantugosaurus. They think Edmontosaurus is always larger than Tyrannosaurus Rex, which it isn't. They think Edmontosaurus wins against T-Rex all the time, as well prey on it, as if Edmontosaurus was the apex predator of Hell Creek, not understanding predator and prey dynamics. The reason why they exist is because of dinosaur survival slop. You know, Pri-Extinction, The Isle, Pet of Titans, Roblox Dinosaur Simulator, and where they actually can beat the strongest predators in-game, which tend to be the 3 megatheropods that like Tyrannosaurus, Spinosaurus, and of course Giganotosaurus. As well, the media depict herdosaurs like completely cannon fodder. They also tend to be claimed to be experts on herdosaurs, yet they don't know anything about herdosaurs, let alone any ornithopod dinosaurs. You might ask, why this phenomenon exists? It's an ever-growing problem in the paleo community, after all.
Good point, Master. Let me explain it, as I've done research on these specimens.
Alright, show me the thesis.
Main causes of the PE-eejit brain rot epidemic. 1. Infantilization of non-avian dinosaurs and paleontology. Dinosaurs have long been marketed as something for children, often through toys, books, cards, cartoons, and other forms of media targeted at young audiences. While this marketing strategy aims to introduce the field of paleontology and spark interest, it also has some unintended consequences. The problem is that this approach often oversimplifies the subject, reducing dinosaurs and paleontology as a whole into something of a fairy tale. The focus on dinosaurs, while fun and engaging, can overlook the broader diversity of ancient life, especially non-dinosaur creatures that are just as fascinating. As a result, the public's perception of paleontology is skewed. Many view the science as mere fantasy, disconnected from the complexities of actual research and the true diversity of prehistoric life. This creates a disconnect between what people learn as children and the nuanced science they could later explore. I want a Barosuchus action figure. I'm sad that nobody makes them. 2. Sensationalized headlines and skewed perceptions. The public's perception of paleontology is often skewed and distorted by misleading or sensationalized headlines. Everywhere you look, you'll see headlines comparing everything to T-Rex. The overemphasis on this one dinosaur creates a narrow, one-dimensional view of prehistoric life, reducing the complexity of paleontology to a single iconic predator. Take the often cited claim that the chicken is the closest living relative to T-Rex. This is an oversimplification and quite misleading. The reality is that all birds are the closest living relatives to all dinosaurs, because birds are dinosaurs. Specifically, birds are modern-day theropods, a group of dinosaurs that includes T-Rex and many others. Yet, the mainstream narrative tends to present this as though it's a one-to-one connection, making it seem as if chickens are some unique link to T-Rex, when that's far from the full picture. Another misconception revolves around feathered dinosaurs. Many people imagine them as Jurassic Park-looking T-Rex or Velociraptor with plucked feathers awkwardly glued onto their bodies. This is a significant misunderstanding, and feathered dinosaurs did not look like this. Not all dinosaurs had feathers. Some lacked them entirely, while others possessed a mix of feathers and scales. The fact is, dinosaur feathers varied widely in form, from simple quills to pennaceous structures, and their appearance was far more varied and natural than the assert versions often portrayed in media. And then there's the issue of influences in the paleo community. Instead of using their platform to educate, some tend to overcomplicate the issues with strawman arguments, association bias, and political narratives. Disagreements often get treated as personal attacks, with opposing views dismissed as enemy opinions rather than opportunities for productive dialogue and re-education. This creates an environment where the focus shifts from scientific discussion to pushing specific political agendas. So, what we're left with is a paleontology community that's become a confusing, fragmented mess, with sensationalism, misinformation, and politics muddying the waters. It seems as a fraud I was too lazy to write all my thesis. I must write more. 3. Paleo media and entertainment. Obviously, the media depictions of dinosaurs aren't that good, but they're obsessed with dino slop content. Wait, I already explained that. Pidgeets make up the 99% of the dinosaur survival games audience, yet the 99% of the stupidity on the Natural History Discord channel. Oh yeah, it is caused by academic elitism from Big Paleo, 3 elitism and gatekeeping from the Knights of
I got this, Chad. I got him. It's cover.
They tried to silence us for speaking up the truth! Paleontology is being gatekept by those spiteful, elitist, left-wing lunatic snobs who control this field since forever. These secret groups include the Knights of Iguana, Mammalia, and their proxies such as Echoes Lobrea, Paleo-Stream, Paleo-Media, and the Grayskulls servers, etc. They also control Wikipedia, Paleo Twitter community, and the academic aspects of this field. They hoard the good stuff in private lockdown echo chambers. Anything beyond mass estimates or skeletal reconstructions, gone! They keep real information scarce, leaving places like the Grayskulls abandoned by these elitists, infested with pointless weight estimates discussions, while etymony, phylogeny, ecology, and biomechanics rot. I only learned real paleontology by infiltrating their servers. Why? They're scared of outsiders like me taking their power. That's why it's a secretive club. YouTube is filled with misinformation and surface level slop. Everyone clueless in this field. Doing your research is hell because they've rigged it so hard that you have to rely on these gatekeepers. But it gets worse. They spied on us before we exposed their game, Seasonic Survival. Now Echoes Lobrea. That's when I saw the paleo-matrix, an entity that keep us in the dark. And I'm not done yet. Their master plan is creating the Pidgeets by genetically modifying the Awesomebros. Made them gullible, tolerable to their smug modern tastes, and to trust them blindly. They created a new hierarchy, the bottom class, the serfs, the peasants, and the slaves of the paleo-matrix. These useful idiots are meant to be exploited for the elite, wealth, fame, and power. And that's the great filter. A barrier between the peasants and the elite zealots.
But I, Caster Tank, will put an end in the paleo-matrix. I will bring truth, reality, judgment, liberty, and freedom! I will cure the Pidgeet epidemic! I will make the second dinosaur renaissance! I will make paleontology great again!